Hello everybody, my name is James Turnipseed. Welcome to the Walking Dead episode recap review for The Cell. If you're not here for spoilers, time to go, because this is spoiler heavy. A new group of saviors seem to have it all in their impressive community, however, there is a price. So, this is a full Daryl heavy episode, and savior heavy episode. Daryl and Wyatt mainly. Um, so yeah, it starts off with Wyatt making an impressive egg sandwich with tomatoes, lettuce, mustard, and bread. Basically, just showing that Wyatt has a bit of stroke around the saviors. And then they feed Daryl, who is in a cell, dog food sandwiches. Just bread and a scoop of dog food. He's also in there naked. So if you want to see that, go for it. This is the episode for you. So basically, they're just trying to break Daryl into being a savior, which is kind of weird because when Negan asks anybody who they are and they're a savior, they say, "I am Negan," which is why not just call your group Negan? But whatever. Um, so yeah, basically, they just keep trying to break them, dog food sandwich after dog food sandwich, and one of the most annoying songs ever. That's Too Happy, and even I got tired of it because they played it so much in the episode. Um, but yeah, they just keep trying to break Daryl. Dwight and Negan have a moment where Negan takes a stab at Dwight for taking his wife from him and basically gives him free reign on the pussy machine. The pussy farm is open and Dwight eats for free, but he turns him down and says, "Oh, the job's not done." Um, and then Sherry shows up and recognizes Daryl and says, "Daryl, right?" And Dwight's like, "Don't talk to him." They're in the doctor with Dr. Carson, and she's taking a pregnancy test that's negative, and Dwight says, "Well, maybe next time." And she tries to talk to Daryl again, and he tells her, "I told you not to talk to him," and she kind of walks off. They look at Daryl's wound, and they're like, "It'll be fine if you. It'll heal. It'll get better if you let it." And then they put him back in the cell, and more dog food sandwiches. He eventually gets a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt that has a big A on it, which is kind of weird because it's like Alexandria, the thing with Terminus, A and B, and he has the A. They have more people, kind of like if you saw Fear the Walking Dead, how that one, the Colonial, had like zombies and then a big fence. They kind of got the same thing with zombies on poles and standing around and on chains and whatnot. Dwight keeps looking out at it like he's pondering something. Um, and then back when Dwight and Negan are talking, they get a call on the radio and it's snatch and grab, so someone stole their stuff and ran. And they Negan tells Dwight send Fat Joe on it, who's a big fat dude, which I don't really buy in the apocalypse, but whatever. Um, and Dwight says like, "No, I'll do it. I like it." So he's gonna go do it, and he goes, and I guess he wrecks. It's really funny because if you read the comic, you know who and what Dwight is, and he's kind of like in the show, kind of like a replacement Daryl. He stole Daryl's motorcycle, so he's riding Daryl's bike. He stole Daryl's crossbow. He's using Daryl's crossbow, and he wears Daryl's vest. So there you go. Imitation has the best form of flattery. So I guess he wrecked the bike in a deleted scene because the rim's kind of bent and he's pushing the bike and he kind of has a limp. Anyways, he finds the guy who did the snatch and grab and he tackles him while he's wrestling a zombie, and then starts to take him back and like points the gun at him and says keep walking and tells him to shut up a whole bunch. And this guy basically told him how they used to be friendly and how his wife died, and basically he has nothing left to do, so shoot me. And Dwight breaks in by saying, I'll blindfold everybody you know and put them on the wall. I'll dig up your dead wife and feed her to the crows. And the guy says like, all right, Dwight, all right, D, you win, and turns and starts walking, and then Dwight shoots him. Weird. Um, so yeah, and then while that's happening, Fat Joe brings Daryl his dog food sandwich and leaves the cell door unlocked. So Daryl tries to escape, and then Sherry comes and kind of grabs him and says like, "Go back while you can, or it'll get worse." And he kind of stuffs off, and then he gets surrounded by a bunch of people, and Negan shows up, and Negan asks everybody who they are, and they say Negan, and then he swings Lucille at him, and Daryl doesn't flinch or anything, and then they kind of walks off after saying like, "Ooh, I like that," and giving a little speech, and then as he's walking off whistling that tune he whistles, Daryl punches one of the guys that he's surrounded by, and they all punch him and give him a beatdown and throw him in the cell. And then Sherry comes to the cell when he's sitting in there and says, Daryl, remember, like basically saying like, remember when you said, when we saw you on the road and I said I was sorry and you said you would be? Well, I am. So she's like apologizing and then walks off. Then Dwight comes and they have a smoke, him and Sherry, and they talk about like, is he good to you? And she says yeah, and she says, are you happy? And she says no, and she says good. And then kind of walks off, and then we get the story of what happened to Dwight. Basically, Tina uh, had insulin issues, so Dwight, Sherry, and Tina stole the medicine and ran off because Negan asked her to marry him, and she said, "Let me think about it," because she's super hot, and that was Sherry's sister. So that's why they run off, and then Negan was gonna kill Sherry, and Dwight begged him not to, and then Negan was gonna kill Dwight because he thought that was cute, so he decided just to kill him, and then Sherry says, if you let Dwight live, I'll marry you. So that's how Dwight just got the iron, which kind of rips us off of a iconic scene in the comic book when Negan's holding the iron to Dwight's face and melting his face off. Some bones about that. They still might do it though, so who knows. Um, so yeah, and then Negan asks Daryl who he is, and he pauses for dramatic effect and says Daryl. But before that, Dwight thought he finally broke Daryl when he put up a photo. He taped a photo to the wall, and this is interesting. He didn't say "Long live Negan." He said "Long live D" or "Long live the D." So like "Long live Dwight." And he put up a picture of Glenn's smash face and played a different sad country song, and Daryl cried and threw up. So then they brought him there, and then they put him back in there, and it ends with Dwight standing out on the ledge thing where he's been looking at the wall, and it's the guy who he shot in the back is a zombie, and they stab him against the wall, and he turns and like kind of motions at him and gestures towards him, and that's how it ends. So I'll see you next week. It's an hour and a half. Who knows what'll happen? Peace. It's gonna be an Alexandria episode. Interesting.